Welcome back, everyone. Buongiorno, hola, willkommen. This is our second series in the series of your inner and outer wealth, powerful, positive wealth life. So my question to you today is for all of you returning, and I'm going to go for everyone that's not returning, and I do want to highly encourage you listen and watch the first one of this series because it has a big chunk of it that you need in order to get into what we're going into today. But my question to all of you is, how are you going to make your inner work so the outer does? I'm going to ask that again. How are you going to make the inner work so the outer does? So let me go into that, and let me just recap really quick on what we talked about the other day. We started to talk about wealth management, and really, what does wealth management mean to you? Wealth management can mean many things. What does wealth mean? Let's start with that. What's the definition of wealth for you? Wealth can be, you can be wealthy in relationships, you can be wealthy in joy and laughter, you can be wealthy in money, you can be wealthy in chairs if you want. You can be wealthy in anything that you desire. It's up to you to define that, and I took you through a little bit of a progress in our first session. But really, I wanted to tap into today where we left off last time. The many clients that I'm working with in companies all go okay, we want to make more money, we want to improve our cash flow, we want to increase the cash flow, we want to increase the flow of money into the bank accounts. But where does that start? May it be a company, may it be an individual. It first starts with your own strategy. It starts with, what are you telling yourself? It really starts with even before that. It starts with the cognitive awareness. And as you see the flip chart that I have from our first session here, it's the anticipation, the formation of a mental object. That is the thought. But first you gotta know, well, what am I thinking? Am I thinking things that are making sense to me, that are supporting me? Or am I thinking, am I formatting a mental object that is supportive or non-supportive? That's really what it boils down to. And if you're not aware of it, how are you supposed to change it? So it really starts with the awareness, going into the thoughts, the communication that we have with ourselves that turns into a feeling, a sensation within our body. That is the inner game. That is what I mean by when I say, how are you going to make the inner work so the outer does? Because the outer is really the result that you're going to see at the end of the day in your bank account, in your wallet, or wherever you are tracking your money. So going into the outer game today, going into the outer wealth life, that is what we're all about today. In our first session, we went through the inner game, everything that happens between your ears. And today we're really looking at, okay, so if this is in place, now what do I have to do to get into action? And that's really what we're going to focus a little bit more today, going from the internal into the external. So my question to you is, when you hear this word, and for most of you that have done the first session with me, you know I'm very German, so I'm going to say it like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which he was actually Austrian, but anyway, I can say it the same way. Action. Action, baby. And if you don't have action, nothing's going to move, because a body in motion a body in motion stays in motion. A stagnant body stays stagnant and doesn't want to do anything. So when I work with clients that say, I have a really hard time with this, you know what I first do with them? Get out. Get out of your seat, start walking. And if it's just 5 minutes, go take a walk around the block. Go do some jumping jacks. Go do whatever it takes to get your muscles moving a little bit, your blood flowing, your heart rate going up just a tad. I'm not asking for you to go to the gym 5 hours per day. I'm just saying, get out of the seat and start walking. That's all I'm asking, and everyone can do that. So it starts with the action, but all of these inner game processes that we've gone through are part of this. These are the preliminary, and now we're going into the action. So as you are, like I said, a body motion stays in motions. As you are going into motion, what do you need to do to not just go aimlessly for a walk and then get lost and go, actually I just wanted to go for a 5-minute walk around the block, but I didn't completely think that through, and all I did was take, left turn here, right turn here, and I ended up in a completely different neighborhood. And that's where these come in. Goals. So my clients call them objectives, or some of my colleagues call them objectives. Having goals, having objectives, know where you are walking to. So if I live in the state of Tennessee, and if I say, all right, kids, let's all get in the car, we're driving to Naples, Florida, and there's a long interstate that connects Tennessee with the south of Florida, and it's I-75. And I would look on the map, and I would just take I-75 north. And eventually, after, a few hours, we would end up in Kentucky, and then later, much later, we'd end up somewhere in Canada. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of money in gas and time. My time is worth a lot of money. And I realized, okay, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go into cold. I wanted to go into warm. All of my Canadian out there, I love you guys. But I wanted to go to Naples, Florida. I didn't want to drive up to Canada. But if I don't set clear goals, if I don't set clear objectives, and then figure out, okay, how am I going to break these down? How am I going to break down my goals and know what to target? How am I going to get there? And, I might hear some of you saying, all right, I need to know where I'm going. I don't need to know the exact how I get there. And I absolutely agree with you 100%. However, let's break down, let's set a target, let's set a goal, let's set an objective as much as we can, and then break it down and see how far can we break it down for right now. There's a great book called How to Eat an Elephant. And it's really, the elephant is the big picture. The elephant is this. This is the elephant. And now breaking it down, how do I get there? It starts with time management. It starts with getting clearer and clearer on what it is that you need to do right now. Not tomorrow, not day after, not next month, not next year. It's, okay, so what do I need to do right now? Let me give you a specific example. So if I say, okay, I want to create a completely new website, and I have some sort of an idea of what the website will look like, and I'm gathering some information, I'll just put it on the table and tell my web developer, okay, this is what the website's going to look like. What do I need to do right now in order to get to that big elephant, which is my finished website? If I could get completely lost in the details of, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with the website, I don't know what comes first, I don't know what to do next. That's where you go into overwhelm. Don't do that. Think of what can I do right now? Because for me, and there are many, many listeners right now, I'm pretty sure that say, oh, this is what you need to do. And that's how your brain works. And there are many, many of you that are listening that go, I would have no clue. So take that just as an analogy and allow yourself to not get into a place of overwhelm, but get into a place of staying present, seeing where you're going, but taking that one step right now. That one step might just be getting out there and finding images for the website. Going out there and writing some copy, if that's what you need right now. Whatever comes up for you, take one step. It might be not completely the correct step, and that's okay. You don't need to have everything perfect, because newsflash to you, perfect doesn't exist. My perfect is different from your perfect, is different from your spouse's perfect, is different from your, if you have a boss, is perfect, it's different from everyone else's perfect. Perfect does not exist. Do the very best that you can with the resources that you have in the moment. I'm going to repeat that. Do the very, very best that you can with the resources that you have in that moment. And know that when you take that one step and you look left and right, you took that step, that you can evaluate, okay, am I going to continue on that path, or do I take a left, do I take a right, or perhaps do I take one step back and then adjust, and then go this way, and then go that way? You will never find out if you're not taking that next step. And the more steps you will take and the more course correct you will do, the quicker you are going to receive this. Clarity, one of my favorite C words. Clarity only comes when you start taking steps. Clarity does not come as you are in a state of being overwhelmed. And I'm going to address another elephant, which is the pink elephant in the room. You have a choice to be overwhelmed or not be overwhelmed. And that's action. That really goes back to here. But first you got to be aware. Am I going to continue those thoughts of overwhelm? That will leave me with a crappy feeling that will get me into probably a lack of action. If you do that, I hope you can see this, you're going in that downward spiral that we talked about the other day. It's really your choice, and there's another great C word that I'm very fond of. It's really your choice what you're going to do, in which direction you're going to go. Are you going to make a choice to go upward, or are you going to make a choice to go downward in your spiral? That's really up to you. Okay, so we have action, goals, breaking it down, and by taking that next, I'm going to write this down here as well, by taking those next steps, and I'm actually going to leave it singular, that next one step will give you clarity. And now I'm going to come to my very, very, very favorite topic. When you take those steps, and when you look at then the result of that step, no matter how big or small that result of that step is, you're going to do this. You ready for this? My favorite thing to do. You're going to celebrate! You celebrate the heck out of it. And sometimes celebration is a, yes, I did it. Sometimes the celebration is, hey, let's get the champagne out of the fridge. Sometimes the celebration is hugging. Sometimes the celebration is just completely crashing and eating a bar of chocolate. Whatever celebration is to you, and let me clarify that. Celebration does not mean that you're going to get money and just spend it left and right. That's not what I mean by celebration. By celebration, I mean anchoring it within your body, taking that feeling and anchoring it of accomplishment. When you celebrate, you are anchoring, you're anchoring your accomplishment. You're anchoring your accomplishment. And think back. Some of you have children, or I think all of us have been children at some point. think back when you were a child. Look at your own children. When they come with a stick figure on a piece of paper, you celebrate with them. You're like, yes, this is the best picture ever. Right? So why not celebrate your steps? No matter how big or small they are, celebrate them. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I want you to celebrate them. Celebration is such a big thing. And honestly, I'll be really, really open and vulnerable with you. For the longest time in my life, I didn't celebrate. Remember, I'm German. It's always, you got to do more, you got to do better, you got to work harder, you got to work longer hours, you got to. And I never took the time to really look at my accomplishments and go, that was pretty awesome. Success breeds success, but only if you acknowledge it. If you don't treat yourself like you would treat your own children, you're going to be burned out pretty quick and you're going to give up. The reason why I ask you to celebrate, and I don't just ask you, I'll encourage you because it's fun. But you know what? All of my celebrations, they live right here. Some of my clients, their celebrations live here, or in their knees. Feel that sensation somewhere in your body of celebration and stack those celebrations on top of each other, because there will come a time in your life where you feel like whatever I touch, it's not working out. And that's where you're going to feel the celebrations that you have put in your body and remind yourself with the muscle memory, no, I can't. Things that I touch do work out. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Celebration. Here's the big thing, what happens when you celebrate. Remember? Momentum. I had to spell that out here for a minute. Remember, success breeds success. When you celebrate, you're being aware of your accomplishments. You're celebrating your accomplishment. That creates momentum. If you just keep going and going and going, and you want more and more and more and more, and you're being so hard on yourself of doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and not being results, you're not going to have. Because eventually, you're definitely not going to have momentum. Eventually, you will have burnout. Because you didn't stop to smell the roses. You didn't acknowledge yourself of all the things that you have accomplished. And you certainly are not creating momentum. So celebration is a big, big thing. And here's the thing. Once you celebrate it, and once you have momentum, guess what? You're going to take more action. You're going to celebrate more. You're going to create more momentum. You're going to be more successful. And you now have a very natural upward spiral. It just keeps going. Will there be failures along the way? Absolutely. But you know what? At this point, you have learned, as I said in the first series, get back up. Dust off those legs and say, okay, I fell down. Now let's reevaluate that. Keep what's working, toss what's not working, and keep moving forward. Do not stay stagnant. Do not feel pity. Do not become the victim. A victimized thinking is that kind of stinking thinking right there that will bring you down. As you are taking action, as you are, let me find this real quick. As you are taking action, as you are setting goals, hold on. We're just going to pretend we know that it says action here. There we go. As you're taking action, as you're setting goals, as you are breaking down your steps, as you are creating more clarity and receiving more clarity, you are now, and you have those results, and you are celebrating, and you are creating momentum, you do want to track. Let me get a different color here. You want to track your success. Track your success. Because when you track your success, my flip chart's falling apart. When you track your success, you are becoming more aware, and you are becoming more aware of which other thoughts to think that will create other feelings, more positive and supportive feelings that will then go into action and bring you more results and create more momentum as you're celebrating more, and then you track even more and you toss what's not working and you keep what's working, you keep going, and you have that upward spiral. Tracking is a big key in this that a lot of people are missing out on. So, let's see. I have one little giveaway as you're contacting me. It is a deposit that I have actually talked to Greg Montana, Heart Virtues. Look him up, he's incredible. And I talked to him on the phone not long ago, and I didn't have anything to write on other than a little deposit slip from my bank. And I was going to take some notes of the things he said. And as he was speaking, I'm looking at the deposit slip of my bank, and I said, Greg, you know what I'm taking notes on? He says, what are you taking notes on? I said, isn't that interesting? I'm putting it on a deposit slip of my bank. And he says, oh my goodness, Brigitta, you're depositing into your future. So I took that and I made a little deposit slip, which takes you through those steps that I have just taken you through. Awareness, having an affirmation, getting out the stinking thinking, affirming it with something that's supporting you, setting goals, by which specific date. Once you've achieved it, the celebration right here, and then what's next for you. You can have as many deposit slips. I'm gonna have a whole block of 10 deposit slips, and that's something that is available very soon here. So just wanted to share that with you and show that. I think that was a very divine intervention when I had that conversation with Greg Montana. Much love out to Greg Montana at this point. So I want to hear from you as we're wrapping this up. What's next for you, and what would you like to hear me talk about next? I have a great array of information. You know, as you heard my story and probably read it somewhere, I've created businesses, I've sold businesses, I am a business mentor, I'm the lead coach of the largest self-development company, and I'd love to hear from you. So stay in touch. Thank you so much for tuning in.